I always thought Drumheller's ghosts lived out in the badlands, in the canyons, the abandoned mines, the dinosaur bones half buried in the dust. But I was wrong. The real ghost, the one that still won't rest, lives in a quiet two-story house at the edge of town. Locals call it the Johnson House. And after one night inside, I'll never doubt another ghost story again. I drove into Drumheller just before sunset. The sky was burning orange, that dry prairie wind rolling across the valley like the breath of something old. The Johnson House stood at the far end of a gravel road, surrounded by tall yellow grass and a few leaning poplar trees that whispered with every gust. From the outside, it looked like any other century-old home. A steep roof, white siding faded to gray, and that wraparound porch that must have once felt like comfort. Now, it just looked tired. There was a for sale sign leaning crooked against the fence, and the windows reflected nothing. I wasn't there to buy. I was there because a friend of a friend, a realtor, had told me, if you're looking for a true Alberta haunting, that's the one. But don't stay past midnight. Inside, the air was still, heavy. Old wood and dust, that faint chemical smell of furniture polish that clings to homes no one's lived in for too long. The first floor was simple: a living room, a kitchen, and Dr. Johnson's old study. It was in that study, where the doctor's rifle once hung, that he died. An accident, they said. A gun discharged while he was packing for a trip. But locals will tell you, it didn't sound like an accident. I set up my camera, turned on my recorder, and told myself I'd stay until morning. Just one night.
By 10 p.m., the house had gone completely silent. Even the wind outside had stopped. I was sitting on an old sofa in the living room, probably the same one mentioned in those local stories, when it happened. At first, I thought I was imagining it. That subtle, unmistakable sound, leather shifting, like someone sitting down behind me. It was so clear, so ordinary, so wrong. I turned slowly, the camera light cutting across the room, but there was no one there. The leather armchair sat empty, but the cushion was slightly dented, like it was holding the shape of someone unseen. I told myself the air in old houses moves funny. That's what I always tell myself. Then came the smell. It started faint, a sharp, sterile scent, like rubbing alcohol or old antiseptic. And underneath that, something metallic. Blood. I got up, flashlight trembling, and followed it down the hallway to the study. The air in there was colder, the shadows sharper. And on the desk, right where the rifle had once hung, lay a single brass casing. Clean, polished, like it had just been fired.
Around midnight, I heard it, the soft sound of footsteps above me. The realtor had told me the upper floor had been sealed off years ago, ever since a roof leak damaged the staircase. But those footsteps were light, hesitant, like a child pacing. I aimed my flashlight up the stairs, half expecting to see dust falling from the ceiling. Instead, I heard a giggle. Just one, high and quick, a little girl's laugh echoing faintly down the stairwell. That's when I remembered. Dr. Johnson had a daughter. She died a few years after him from an illness. They say she never left the house. I stepped up one creaking stair, then another. Each one groaned like it was warning me back. Halfway up, my light flickered, once, twice, then died completely. Pitch black. That's when something cold brushed past me. Not air, something solid. I bolted down the stairs, straight into the living room. And that's when I saw the mirror.
It was one of those old, full-length mirrors leaned up against the far wall. When I looked into it, there was nothing unusual at first, just me, pale and shaking. Then, faintly behind me, the reflection of that same armchair, and in it, a man's shape. Shoulders, a collar, the faint outline of a face. But when I turned around, the chair was empty.
I tried to leave. I really did. But when I grabbed the doorknob, it wouldn't turn. Completely locked from the inside. My phone? Dead. Every piece of tech I'd brought, camera, flashlight, recorder, all blinking out, one after another, like the house was starving them. I backed toward the kitchen, my heart pounding, whispering to myself that it would be morning soon. Then came the last sound. The faint creak of that leather chair, and a deep, slow inhale right behind me. I froze. Didn't breathe, didn't move. And then, from just behind my ear, a whisper, a man's voice, calm, measured, almost polite. "You shouldn't have come." The lights above flickered once, then went out completely. I don't know how long I stood there in the dark, a few seconds, maybe minutes. When I finally got the front door open, the sky outside was already pale blue. I ran. Didn't look back until I was halfway down the gravel road, and when I finally did, I swear I saw someone standing on the porch. A man in an old dark suit, and beside him, a small girl holding his hand. They watched until I disappeared into the morning fog.
I still have the footage. Most of it's corrupted, but one frame remains, just one. It's of that armchair, sitting empty. Except if you look closely, the leather's still pressed down, like someone still sitting there. And sometimes, late at night when I play the clip on loop, I swear I can hear breathing, steady, calm, like the doctor still waiting for me to come back.